Alexandra Eala has made it completely official with Nike, and the way this entire story unfolded is sending shockwaves through the tennis world that are still reverberating. The deal is signed. The partnership is confirmed. And the details of what Nike has put together for this young woman are, by any measure, extraordinary. But what makes this story genuinely seismic is not just what is happening on Eala's side of it. It is what is simultaneously unfolding on the other side. Because while Eala is being celebrated and showered with one of the most significant endorsement arrangements in the history of women's tennis, Aryna Sabalenka is sitting at home watching it all happen with a feeling that can only be described as profound regret. And the reasons why are going to leave you completely speechless. For weeks, reports had been circulating that Nike had extended an offer worth $45 million and that Eala had accepted. But there was no official confirmation, because Eala was doing exactly what genuine champions do. She kept her head down, stayed locked into her preparation, and competed at the Dubai Open without allowing a single piece of outside noise to penetrate her competitive focus. She did not mention the deal. She did not hint at it. She simply played tennis. That kind of professional discipline and mental clarity at 20 years old is precisely why the biggest brands on the planet are lining up to attach their identity to hers. The moment the Dubai Open concluded, everything changed. Eala traveled to Nike's world headquarters in Beaverton, Oregon. And what was waiting for her there was not a conference room with lawyers and contracts. Nike had built an entire gallery inside their headquarters featuring her most iconic career moments, each one framed and displayed on the walls as a permanent tribute to everything she has already accomplished. They had designed a custom pair of shoes created specifically for her, a deeply personal and symbolic gesture communicating unambiguously how valued she is as a person, not merely as an athlete. This was Nike deploying its full institutional hospitality in the most spectacular fashion possible, and the message it sent was impossible to misread. Alexandra Eala is not another signing. She is the future. And Nike is treating her accordingly from day one. The deal itself deserves to be broken down carefully, because the numbers are remarkable but the structure of the partnership is what truly tells the full story. The reported $45 million over 3 years is already a figure that commands attention in any conversation about women's sports endorsements. But performance incentives built into the agreement mean the total value could climb considerably higher depending on her trajectory over the contract period. What genuinely separates this from a standard endorsement arrangement, however, is the role Eala is being given within Nike's broader commercial ecosystem. She is not simply being compensated to wear the swoosh on court. She is being positioned as the official face of the Nike brand across the entire Southeast Asian region, featuring in custom outfits, anchoring major global promotional campaigns, and being given a level of brand visibility that Nike historically reserves for only the most elite names on their roster. Nike is handing her a platform that extends well beyond tennis. And they are betting heavily on her star power to accelerate their presence across one of the most important and fastest-growing consumer markets in the world. Understanding why Nike moved this aggressively requires appreciating the bigger picture they had been observing for some time. Their marketing team had been watching Eala closely, and what they saw convinced them they were looking at something genuinely rare. A player whose ability to generate excitement and emotional investment wherever she competes is unlike almost anything else currently operating in professional sport. Venues flood, streets fill. Fans travel hours and cross international borders simply for the chance to watch her play a tennis match. Across the Philippines and the broader Southeast Asian region, she is not a tennis player with a strong following. She is a cultural phenomenon, a living symbol of pride and possibility for tens of millions of people. Nike recognized a once-in-a-generation commercial opportunity. And they were acutely aware they were not the only ones who saw it. New Balance and Adidas were both pursuing Eala with serious intent, and the competition for her signature was genuinely fierce. Nike also carried a very painful institutional memory of what happens when you hesitate in exactly these situations. Losing Coco Gauff to New Balance was one of the most costly strategic missteps in their recent history. Gauff went on to become one of the most celebrated and commercially powerful athletes in the sport, and Nike watched the entire ascent from the outside because they moved too slowly when it mattered. They were categorically not going to allow a repeat of that error. When the opportunity with Eala materialized, They came to the table immediately, decisively, and with everything at their disposal. Now here is where the story takes the turn that has the tennis world genuinely stunned. While Eala was being welcomed at Nike headquarters with custom galleries and signature shoes and a landmark financial commitment, Aryna Sabalenka was experiencing something entirely different with that exact same brand. And the contrast between how Nike is treating these two athletes at this precise moment in time could not be more stark or more telling. Sabalenka is the world number one. She is a multiple Grand Slam champion. She has been with Nike for years and has achieved things that very few players in the entire history of the sport have managed. And yet when she approached Nike requesting recognition that reflected her status at the absolute pinnacle of the game, specifically asking for a custom outfit that matched what the world's top-ranked player might reasonably expect from her primary sponsor, Nike told her no. Read that again. The world number one denied a custom outfit by the same brand that just built a dedicated gallery for a 20-year-old and handed her $45 million. The weight of that contrast is genuinely difficult to process. Reports indicate that the relationship between Sabalenka and Nike has been quietly deteriorating for considerably longer than the public has been aware, and a sequence of events has accelerated that deterioration significantly. Her controversial remarks following Coco Gauff's Roland Garros victory created serious discomfort within Nike, a brand that manages its public image with extreme care and has no appetite whatsoever for being associated with controversy. That episode appeared to mark the beginning of a deliberate and increasingly visible shift in how Nike was approaching the relationship. Did not stop there. The high-profile racket-smashing incident following her Australian Open loss to Madison Keys added another layer of tension. The Roland Garros press conference situation, in which her comments about Gauff's success drew widespread criticism, compounded it further. Her defeat to Keys at the US Open introduced additional strain. And then came the reported incidents surrounding the WTA finals, including deeply serious allegations about her conduct toward opponents following her loss to Elena Rybakina in the final, which sources suggest pushed the relationship to a point it may not recover from. If those allegations are accurate, they represent precisely the kind of association that Nike's brand guidelines are specifically constructed to avoid. The distance the company has created between itself and Sabalenka since then has been deliberate, measurable, and increasingly public. Sabalenka herself has confirmed that Nike will no longer be producing custom dresses for her going forward. Sources close to the situation indicate she has been reaching out to the brand directly in an attempt to salvage whatever can still be preserved. But from everything currently being reported, the trajectory of this partnership is unmistakably negative, and it may not survive the remainder of the season intact. The timing of all of this, considered together, makes the full picture almost impossible to look away from. At the precise moment Sabalenka is losing standing with Nike and watching the brand deliberately pull away from her, Alexandra Eala is walking through the doors of Nike headquarters and being received like the most important athlete in the company's women's tennis portfolio. That is a message no amount of corporate language can soften or reframe. Nike is looking forward. And the direction they are looking is unmistakably, unambiguously toward Alexandra Eala. This is a defining moment, not just for Eala personally, but for Filipino tennis, for Southeast Asian sport more broadly, and for the ongoing conversation about where the center of gravity in women's tennis is shifting. A young woman who stayed focused and professional and grounded even as the biggest commercial deal of her life waited for her to finish one more tournament has just been handed one of the most significant endorsement partnerships the sport has ever seen. And everything about the way Nike chose to celebrate her arrival, the gallery, the custom shoes, the regional platform, the landmark financial commitment, signals that they believe this is not a peak. It is a beginning. Now we want to hear directly from you. Do you think Nike made the right strategic call signing Eala to a $45 million deal at this stage of her career? Or is this a risk that could backfire if her results plateau? And what about Sabalenka? Does a multiple Grand Slam champion and world number one deserve significantly better treatment than what Nike has given her? Is the partnership salvageable? Or are we watching it end in slow motion? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to know exactly where you stand on all of it.